Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are looking at Star Trek Into the Unknown, and we are going to be taking a closer look at the miniatures and doing a size comparison. I wanted to do a few things with these. I've had some requests for people asking what the measurements were, what the sizes of the bases were, how big the Enterprise is, especially if you can, like, maybe take the saucer section off, put the saucer section back on. We'll do some measuring. We'll also do some comparisons to other games. I know some people have wanted to see them like next to a Star Destroyer from Armada, or we'll even maybe throw some X-Wing ships in there as well, so you guys can get an idea of the scale of some of these. If you guys like what you see here and you want to see more, be sure to stick around. Plus, we're doing 12 days of Life Day all throughout December, so if you want to have a chance to enter to win any of those 12 glorious giveaways, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. So make sure you're subscribed. Click the links in the video description below. Again, this game is going to be coming out very, very soon. So I know review copies are definitely shipping. I've already heard from a couple of people who have either received them or have shipping notices for review copies, which means the core game can't be too far behind, which is very cool. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. We'll measure these and we'll do some comparisons. So the first thing I want to give you guys is just a base size. So this is one of the large bases. We've also got medium and small, but the large base looks like it is exactly 5 inches, thereabouts. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much exactly 5 inches long. And as far as width, looks like that's not exactly on one. It looks like that's 2 and 5/8. 2 and 5/8. It looks like it's kind of hitting right there for me. 2 and 5/8 inches. I'm doing everything in inches since the game uses inches, and if you need centimeters, then you're gonna have to Google a conversion, because I live in the United States of America, which doesn't know what the metric system is unless it's a very specific subset of measuring requirements. All right, so, and I'm not proud of that fact. It's just an odd factoid, I suppose. All right, this is a medium base. This one is just about 4.5. I want to say it's like actually 4 and 9/16. But this thing here has a little bit of wiggle room, so I'm gonna push that in, put it up to there. I mean, that puts it just like a millimeter beyond. No, that's like 4.5. I'm sorry, 3.5. 3.5. I'm reading it backwards. Yeah, so 3.5 inches for the medium base, and then we're looking at 2 inches and 1/8 inch for our width for the medium. And then we'll do a small base, which is going to be right here, which I know some people have probably already got the measurements for those. That one looks like it's 2 and 1/4 inch in its length, and then 1 inch and 5/8 width. Okay, so that's those. Now let's do the ships. We'll start with this guy, who I think we've seen him already. He is about 1 and 1/8 inch long and 1 1/4 wide, thereabouts. We're gonna do the Defiant. Again, a lot of people have already seen these two ships because they're in the preview kit. So we're about 1 and 5/8, about 1 and 5/8 long for the Defiant. And that's about, if we're starting from that point, we're almost 1 1/4 wide. And then we're going to go to our medium ship here for our Constellation class. We'll do the length. This one, it's kind of hard because it's hard to measure because the tip is down here. It's about 3 inches. It's a little more than 3 inches. So this one looks like it's about 3 inches and 1/8. 3 and 1/8 inches, about there. Maybe a hair more than 1/8. And the widest part is going to be the saucer section here. So the saucer section is about, let's see, just about 1 3/4 inches. And if we're doing the narrow section, that is exactly 1 inch. So there we go. We'll do the Dominion Battlecruiser. Let me take the pegs off of that. This one's going to be very big. All right, so our width, I'm going to do the width first. That's 7 inches, maybe a little bit more. 7 and maybe a 1/16. So that's almost any, but basically a clean 7 inches across. About, I think it's about a 1/16 longer than that. And then from front to back, looks like we're about 6 1/4, maybe 6 3/8. Right in between 6 1/4 and 6 3/8 from front to back. If we're looking straight down here, yeah. So that's pretty cool. I mean, the depth is. It's hard to do depth right here. It looks like it's 1.5 inches or so of total depth. And then we'll do the Enterprise. I'll do it with the saucer section, and then I'll do measurements without the saucer section. So we kind of have to measure. These come back a little farther, so I can't necessarily measure it from here. So I have to measure it from here, right? So kind of about right there. And that gives us more than 6 inches. That's about 6 1/4. That's about 6 1/4 inches. There's a little bit of an angle. So if you see it hitting 7 here, if I'm going straight down, it's hitting about right there. You see, so a little bit of a angle there. So about 6 1/4 inches long, and then the width, of course, we'll do the saucer section width and the other width. This one is 4.5, exactly 4.5 inches wide for the saucer section. For the nacelles and the star drive section, we're looking at about 3 inches wide, about right there. Yeah. And now, if we wanted to, our width is going to stay the same for these, but our length here is 3.5 inches for the saucer section. And the star drive section, again, we got to kind of do one of these. That is almost 3 inches and 7/8. So 3 7/8 inches. So now we have our measurements for all the ship pieces. This is just really a beautiful ship, by the way. One of the things that I was looking at is this portion here. And it's maybe my only criticism, but it's not much of a criticism, because if you look, when I looked at it at first, I was like, something doesn't look right about the dish, the deflector dish, especially if you look at the box art right there, because there should be an extra blue line. But in all of the reference material I can find, this not actually a hard blue line. It's just a glow of what's behind it. So I think at some point it might be kind of cool. It looks like that piece might be removable. If not, it might be kind of cool to paint a little bit of a glow effect inside the dish there. It might be fun to play around with. So that's a customization that I'm thinking of doing. You know, it's hard to do glow in the same way that you don't have like the yellow kind of glow effect that you have on here. You see how it's like orange and then yellow for the light hitting it. It's just that when you're doing straight paint apps, it's got to be a straight color, so you're not getting the that yellow on there. And so if you want to customize and add a little bit more of the glow of that you would see, you can do that. But I think I might touch that part up a little bit. So yes, but here's the bottom. I want to just showcase it a little bit more in greater detail, since I know I did my unboxing. There was some nervousness. I think I had a little bit of jitters. It had been a long day and a long week, and it's real nice to see. We've got I didn't even notice the 1701D right there, but this is a beautiful model. This is kind of what makes the whole thing. Here's another closer look at the our Constellation class. I keep forgetting the Hawthorne. I keep forgetting the name of this ship. A lot of really tiny details on here, which is super cool. And this is the bottom, the underside, right here. Very cool. The Defiant, which a lot of folks have seen already, but is still very nice looking. Nice that it's in scale. Well, I don't know exactly if it's exactly 1-to-1 scale with everything else. It may be more of a sliding scale, but I think it's very close. I'm not sure. I'm not sure an exact scale is always the best, because it makes certain things, like if they ever wanted to do a Borg cube, like how ridiculously massive would that have to be, right? Here's the Dominion battle cruiser. and that's a thing to think about. Do you want to box yourself into where you're stuck doing a scale that you can't ever adjust with? And I'm not sure. So I like the sliding scale, but not sliding too much. Because I expect like a Romulan D-Daradex is going to be really big, because I won't say it dwarfs the Enterprise, but it kind of almost dwarfs the Enterprise. And the Enterprise is already really big. So how big do you want it to be? I expect it to be larger, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like twice the size of the Enterprise, So, but yeah, let's do some comparison shots to some other ships from other games. All right, we'll start out with some X-Wing ships. I do have the Ghost and the Millennium Falcon here. So this is definitely on the scale with some of the large ships in the game of X-Wing. And of course, if we wanted to take maybe a small ship, we could take the Sheathipede shuttle out there and see that the small ships are kind of on par with other small ships. I didn't actually grab an X-Wing because I have those packed away somewhere else, whereas these ones were easier for me to gain access to. But the Millennium Falcon was the first ever, kind of standard recognizable large ship. So I think the Millennium Falcon and the Enterprise are a justifiable comparison to make. And so we have them kind of side by side looking, and then undersides. So that's kind of gives you an idea of how it might feel in your hand if you're an X-Wing player. And then the Dominion Battlecruiser being significantly larger and kind of dwarfing it. This one's kind of closer to the Gauntlet fighter that they have in X-Wing. If you're familiar with that, it kind of feels like it's about that big. Let's do some Armada ships. All right, so we've got a Victory class Star Destroyer. I wanted to start with this one because it was in the starter box for Star Wars Armada, so you're doing starter ship to starter ship. And I thought they were actually a pretty decent size comparison because this is generally Star Destroyer shaped and generally a pretty big size ship, even though it's classified as a medium. If we wanted to do medium to medium, we could see the scale's a little different. We've got, this is our medium here, and the medium in this game is about equivalent to like an Architon's for Armada here, kind of thereabouts. So some of the larger small ships are about equivalent to the mediums here, whereas some of the smaller small ships are like the flotillas are a little bit closer to Defiant size. So if you were ever thinking about doing some kind of modifications, a flotilla of Defiants would be just crazy cool and would have to be like a 300-point flotilla, because if you had multiple Defiants all flying all together, that would be nuts. That would be very expensive. Okay, so we also have the Imperial Star Destroyer, which is definitely gonna be larger. Of course, this is a massively large ship, but it is at least comparable, and these two would look awesome on the table next to each other. Maybe we'll do a crossover game at some point. Star Trek versus Star Wars. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would ever want to see, and how you would like it to be done. Which side do you homebrew, or do you homebrew none of them and let each fleet use its own rules? Wouldn't that be really groovy? Just for continued comparison's sake, here's the Dominion Battlecruiser, which is maybe bigger than the Star Destroyer. It's hard to say because you've got mass in different places, whereas this one's kind of spread out. It's almost as long as it is wide, but it's got, I think the Dominion Battlecruiser's got a little bit more mass than the Star Destroyer. So so pretty cool stuff. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. And then if you wanted squadrons in there, you'd see some TIE interceptors, kind of like about like shuttlecraft size, or maybe runabout size. Now a little bit bigger than runabouts, because a runabout would still have to be able to land in the docking bay. So these are still much too large. These are kind of like Maquis ship size or something like that, I think. So yeah, I don't think we'd be fitting these inside there. So so not exactly the same, but still very, very cool. And hopefully you guys found this helpful. All right, everybody, so hopefully you enjoyed this closer look at the miniatures of Star Trek Into the Unknown. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below, and we'll see you in the next video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and big thanks to my patrons. You guys definitely help make this whole channel possible, so thank you for your continued support. We'll talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. And as always, wash your socks.